How much does it cost for a boss, manager, overseer, or any higher up to be a decent boss? This is a conversation I wanted to have for a while now, as, well, I've had my fair share of the greatest boss and the worst boss, but not quite as horrendous as the ones I hear in videos and stories. Most of the stories that I hear is from this YouTuber called r/. They tend to read a bunch of posts on Reddit, so they're just pretty much a subreddit reader, and they tell stories like entitled parents or malicious compliance. For this particular video that I'm recording, most of it is malicious compliance or petty revenge or stuff like that, where employees exploit the not so bright side of bosses' behaviors, where basically the big-headedness of managers or the higher-ups becomes way above them, that it causes the bosses to behave irrationally. To simplify it, bosses or managers, whichever, I'm just going to say bosses to subcategorize everybody in the higher-ups. Bosses will just act like, oh, because I am bigger than you, you're going to do as I say because I'm the boss. And that mentality makes absolutely no sense. So we round about to the question again, how much does it cost to be a decent boss? Personally, I believe it's free. Yes, there are some sacrifices, but none that cost money as long as you do it right. r/ is a person who often humble brags, and I don't think it's a bad thing, but humble brags about the fact that he is self-employed. He no longer has to deal with the stressfulness of working with bosses and managers and their ridiculous big-headed behavior. But people like me, who can't become self-employed just yet, still has to deal with that. This isn't pointing fingers towards any boss in particular. So yeah, r/ does not understand why it's so difficult for bosses to behave with kindness. But pretty much I agree as well. To be more specific as to what I mean by a boss behaving with a big-headed behavior, think of it like this. If a new boss is replacing an old boss, they think, oh, because I'm new, I need to change rules and make it so that way it's all about me. And usually it comes up with unnecessary rules or regulations or guidelines that employees have to somehow reach, even if whatever it is that they've set up has no way of actually helping anybody. Speaking of, I used to work as a security officer, and what we had to do is very difficult to explain, but essentially, we had a couple different posts, one of them being metal detector. We had to make sure that no material was leaving secured areas or no unsafe material was going into those safe areas. And we just had to be alert. That's basically it. We did not need to do anything extra because anything extra was unnecessary. All we had to do was make sure that we screened up each person going in and out of the secured areas were screened properly. However, a new hot shot came into town and they felt like they had to change what wasn't broken and added unnecessary stuff just to make things unnecessary, and heaven forbid you fight back. But they ended up adding more steps to a 2-step situation just to make it so that way he put a little bit of his own flair to it. The security thing was just a small bit of what I mean by a boss being unnecessary. But the stories I hear on r/ are a little bit worse. They'll change the system, making it completely unable to be used, and causing workflow to slow down greatly, oftentimes costing them thousands if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it sounds extremely sad. The stuff that I deal with is usually petty things, but still kind of affects my wanting and willingness to work harder and or find better ways to work smarter. And for some people, this can make it almost impossible for them to want to work harder and or smarter. Situations, meaning if they work harder and come up with a better method only to be chastised or yelled at for doing so, results in them not wanting to do anything. Other situations being bosses trying to force work ethics to work and sacrificing the health and well-being of employees just to cut corners and get products out faster. Luckily, I've never had the situation happen to me, but again, these are stories I've heard of people getting hurt because they're just doing what they're told and ends up costing more money and time and health trying to compensate for the things that the bosses are trying to force. Usually in situations like this, the bosses will try to rebuttal and say, well, the employees should be glad they have a job. And I think that's the most ridiculous way to put it, because at the end of the day, it's the employer who should be happy they even have employees. Who else is going to be doing all the hard work and jobs, especially for small businesses that heavily rely on employees being there in the first place? Circling back to it being partially free to listen or at least try to work with the employees, I say partially free because for the most part it does not really cost much money, and if you do it right, it won't cost you much of anything. I understand at the end of the day you need productivity and you cannot really constantly adjust yourself to make the employees happy just because you don't want somebody to go home upsetty spaghetti. However, if you want people to actually want you around, for the tension not to rise the second you enter the room, for people to go out of their way, coming into work early, staying in late, going out of the way to assist in places that are outside of their contracted work, then it would only make sense but to make them want to do that, not because they have to. Holding over the idea that they'll get fired or they'll have their pay cut if they don't do what the boss is told, or if they're not being a team player, which by the way, you're not being paid to be a team player, you're being paid to do your job, is not the way to get an employee to want to work harder. I am no boss myself. I am no employer myself. I have the littlest idea of what goes on when it comes to being an employer, boss, or anybody in the higher ups. However, I'm saying by trying to meet somebody halfway or better understand them by even just listening to the situation, both people could try to come up with a better way for their job ethics to work. So let's say some new guy comes in, they want to be a hot shot, and they implement some kind of crazy idea they want to use for workflow because they absolutely feel the need to change something just because they need to do something. Perhaps talking with somebody who's an expertise in that field or in that department or whatever the case to see if that's necessary and if there's a way to compromise, to meet halfway, rather than just going full-blown, changing everything because I'm new boss, I absolutely have to put something that tastes like me in this whole operation, which, by the way, is very unnecessary. I only had this situation once, and it wasn't catastrophic, it was just unnecessary and made a lot of people uncomfortable doing this. So if you continue having this moody, detached, and unhinged personality, you're going to have moody, detached, and unhinged employers. Being difficult will only make it so employees don't want to go out of their way to help them. It makes no sense. I mean, think about it this way. If you found a more efficient way to do your job, and surprisingly, it does nothing that affects the product in the end negatively, but in fact gets the product out faster, even if it's by a few seconds, and a boss comes out of their way to insult you and berate you for assuming or thinking the wrong thing, that's going to make it so the person does not want to work harder or come out of their way. I'm not sure how anybody, even if a boss were to walk into somebody who's higher up than them, why would anyone want to go into an environment that's constantly hostile, constantly having somebody breathing down your neck, walking on eggshells, and berating you for trying to think outside the box? And then, on top of that, expecting you to want to do more and work harder. To all and every employer, or hotshot, whichever you want to go for, employees should not be grateful to have a job. Yes, they need one. Yes, it's a standard. Unfortunately, in order to live on this world, you have to have a job, have to have money, and have to have all these things. However, we're not limited to one job. There are plenty of options. Even if those options aren't easily available, there are plenty of options. The employer should be grateful for having the employee. At the end of the day, you need people working for you to get the money you have. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there who are going, well, I'm not being paid to be someone's best friend. I'm going there to work and getting out. Okay, I'm not putting you in any separate box. I'm not discrediting you for wanting to think that way. There are a lot of people, however, who do not want to come into work being discouraged, being harassed, being annoyed, just being drained mentally and physically, all because their bosses could care less about the people that work there. I'm reminding those folks that it is not your fault, and that I'm reminding the bosses, just because of where you're standing does not make you any better, does not make you any more powerful. At the end of the day, we're all working in this company and we have to work together to get the job done. And to basically wrap everything up, I don't want it to sound corny, but it's gonna sound corny, but basically bosses, managers, overseers, supervisors, whichever one, just do better. I understand that it might cost a bit of your time, it might cost maybe a bit of money, but if you just try to work with your employees, most people who work with amazing bosses are going to be told, yeah, this boss is amazing, you should totally come work here. And you have more people wanting to work there, you have more people wanting to work harder, more people wanting to be there. It baffles me how a perfectly amazing job can be destroyed and ruined, all because a boss wants to put his head up his... Hey everyone, this is Leanne Rubentai. I don't have much to say on this one, so it's going to be short, but I am hosting a giveaway on my Instagram account. It is a FNAF Security Breach patch giveaway. It comes with a bag, I custom made it myself. Be sure to go check it out if you want to figure out how to win. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and see you guys next time.